It's Halloween season, and I think that means it's the perfect time to talk about the definition of Halloween spirit, Pumpkin Hill. The second Knuckles level from the hit game Sonic Adventure 2. Pumpkin Hill is just like any other Knuckles level in its formatting. You go around and you collect pieces of the Master Emerald. From a plot perspective, it's nothing interesting, it's just another stage that gives Knuckles something to do so you don't forget about him. It feels like a formality from that standpoint, but I do think there are some things to talk about here, aside from the music that everyone else seems to fixate on. Knuckles' gameplay, as I said earlier, is inherently framed around the idea of looking around for emerald shards and getting them. In Sonic Adventure, the radar tracked 3 pieces at once. I honestly prefer Sonic Adventure 2's, which makes you focus more on an individual piece at a time. So you go around the level and snoop for them each individually, but what makes Pumpkin Hill a lot better than most Knuckles stages in this game is the lack of restriction. Here is a level that is so open compared to its contemporaries, such as Aquatic Mine or Death Chamber, and just lets you look for the emeralds without much in your way. This does lead to a few problems, mostly that the level is overwhelming in size, but ultimately it's probably the closest to the developer's vision that any of these Knuckles levels reach. It doesn't have the absolutely insane, cluttered nightmare size of Meteor Herd, but it's not as tightly focused and confined as Death Chamber is. On an aesthetic level, Pumpkin Hill stands out from the rest of the levels in Sonic Adventure 2 by being distinctly Halloween themed. There really isn't any other level in this game that's quite like Pumpkin Hill. The later Shadow stage, Sky Rail, has similar aesthetics to Pumpkin Hill, but it's at daytime and doesn't have the ghosts that Pumpkin Hill does. Pumpkin Hill relishes itself in goofy Halloween aesthetics, and I utterly love it for that. Ghost trains abound, the regular enemies are deceased spirits, there are towering jack-o'-lanterns in the distance, and ultimately it is a grand declaration of all things Halloween. No other stage in the game has this kind of aesthetic. This leads to a minor problem though. Pumpkin Hill feels out of place in this game. Much like how Knuckles' early plot beats in the game are disconnected from the rest of what's going on, Pumpkin Hill itself feels thematically disconnected from the rest of the game. This is not really an indictment of the level itself, more of the game surrounding it. I would have liked to see something that tied it into the overall plot more, other than it being another place for Knuckles to snoop around and look for emeralds in. While the other characters' plots are progressing at a very fast pace with lots of new developments, Knuckles lags behind and is disconnected from what's going on. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the music. While the song is enjoyable on its own, I think that it really detracts from the atmosphere of Pumpkin Hill on the whole. Sure, Pumpkin Hill is goofy, but it's not goofy in the same way as its song of the same name is. Its backing track is not spooky goofy, it's goofy because it's a show of Knuckles' own ego. The goofiness comes from Knuckles himself as opposed to anything about the inherent goofiness of the spooky aspects of the level. Sonic Adventure 2 still brought us one of the finest examples of a Halloween level in Pumpkin Hill. Despite the song, the pacing of the level and the overall plot is probably the biggest hurdle to the stage being truly a masterpiece. However, it definitely succeeds in bringing an aesthetic to remember, and is a class act in showing off Knuckles' moveset in a concise and interesting way. This has been Arcade Everlasting, who won't let it get to me, I'm just gonna creep, signing off. Thank you for watching.